If your friend took you on a sick surfing trip to a remote Polynesian island, which turned out to be inhabited by an uncontacted tribe of blue-balled freaks, what would you do? Sarah's a surfer chick with one goal: get sponsored by Red Bull, which means traveling to a cursed land with big waves, and bring in enough fodder to take the hits for her poor decisions so that she can escape with her life into sweet book deal. I'm gonna break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the nuclear human waste in Pacific Fear. Between 1966 and 1996, France detonated 193 atomic bombs in Polynesia. Over 3,200 tons of radioactive waste were thrown into the sea between 1967 and 1975. Much of the population was affected by the fallout from radioactive clouds, but it's got hella good waves. So Sarah and her BFFs pay off a local sailor to begrudgingly take them there for a photo shoot. This has all the makings of the Descent Part 3 Tubular. Get pitted, so pitted. Their guide, Sam, well, he's not really a guide, more like the boatman. The boatman stays with the boat because, as he says, the island is cursed. It's a curse? It's a curse. Nobody said anything about the water around it, to which she asks, so why exactly are you taking us there then? For money? Yeah. If I was Sam, I'd make sure to get the cash up front. I like how everyone's all unnecessarily cryptic, trying to spook tourists by saying it's cursed. Then other people are like, that's dumb. You believe in magic. A witch didn't cast a voodoo spell, idiots. Nobody wants to go to the island because it was nuked a couple hundred times and the local population got the crazies from severe radioactive fallout. This is 2024, pretty common knowledge that's easily searchable on the World Wide Web. Once ashore, Sam hands Sarah a handheld radio with a 10-kilometer range. He tells her he'll be back in this exact spot to pick them up after 48 hours, and to call him if she needs help. I'm glad someone planned a comms and evac contingency plan in the event of an injury or emergency. The extent of Sarah's plan was to surf back to the mainland if her friend's guardian totem surfboard named Alan Wee failed to protect them. Shame their guardian totem doesn't also boost their cell signal. Cue the obligatory OMG. Nobody has cell reception on the super remote island, so if something bad happens, we won't be able to FaceTime our boyfriends. Nerds. This message is sponsored by Raycon, because I suspect some of you are stuffing $5 junk pods in your ears. That's a little sad when the newest genius creation from Raycon has already materialized on God's green earth. Raycon's essential open earbuds. They sit comfortably outside my ear canal, letting me hear the world naturally, while still pumping out premium audio with half the price that others charge. Because Raycon is just a good company. Unlike the big audio cabal trying to fleece you, they're super lightweight. So unlike other around-the-ear buds, I don't feel that ear fatigue after a couple hours. The multi-angular hooks keep them secure, whether it's a windy day or you're running for your life. They're IPX5 waterproof, so I don't have to worry about my earbuds getting fried while I'm running outside during a lightning storm. With 8 hours of battery in the earbuds, plus 36 hours in the case, I basically never run into that situation where I grab my earbuds, hit the gym, throw a couple bucks up on the barbell, crank on Can't Be Stopped by Roy Jones, unrack it so its full weight is bearing down on top of my skull and sternum, then my earbuds die, along with all my mental motivation, fortitude, and gains. Not with Raycon's essential open earbuds. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/nerdopen to get 20% off. That's buyraycon.com/nerdopen. The next morning, they set out for the complete opposite side of the island a couple hours hike away, because that's where the big waves are. Why didn't Sam just drop them off there then? I guess it would ruin the adventure. The waves are, honestly, not that big. I was expecting a Point Break 70-footer. This is definitely not worth losing a leg over. Heh, I blame Jen for this shark attack. After all, she did steal the Altoid can full of Scooby snacks from the Murray, thus draining its mana. Hazel had warned her of the devastating consequences of touching those rocks. They're also clearly out of range of Hazel's Alan Guardian totem. Everybody knows those only have a 2-kilometer protection radius, which is why 3 bone tomahawk mermaids are currently hunting them down. We're mad! These dudes definitely want their crank back, like a mama raptor wants her egg back. So, Hazel's dead. Quick, surf to the nearest civilized island. Just kidding, these chicks are dead as unless their quick reaction force consisting of a drunk that Sarah met at a bar happens to be 5 minutes away, his boat happens to be stuffed with automatic rifles, and, least importantly, he happens to be sober. The problem is, Sarah can't get the radio to work for some reason, which means it's gonna be a mad run to find a hiding spot where she can fiddle with it until she can successfully call Sam. Alicia's on the slow end, thank God. Otherwise, it might be us getting tackled by a very hungry Jason Momoa. Honestly, if I were Sarah, I'd shove Jen to the ground and scramble. Her dumb orange swimsuit's gonna make breaking visual contact near impossible. Unfortunately, they were chased like animals right into a trap. All 3 BFFs wake up bound to stakes, gagged, and the whole tribe banging on their bongo drums. Love each day. Oh, the leader's Sam. Can't say he didn't warn him. Instead of, doing what barbarians do to captured females. While pressing his blade to one of their necks, he demands to know which one of them stole their precious perverted. Probably the skinniest, whitest chick. Jennifer. Excuse me. If it's that important to you, maybe hide it better. It's obviously a rhetorical question because they're gagged and none of these cretins has any intention of justice. Otherwise, this would have been as simple as jogging up to them and being like, "Yo, you guys take my Altoids. I know I left them in the open, but that's actually where my dump Thor's valuables. If you could just hand them over, I'll be on my way." But nope. This misconduct demands a ceremonious execution. Not gonna lie, kind of a waste. Have you seen the dating pool around here? That could definitely use some genetic diversity. This is looking more and more like Bone Tomahawk mixed with the Green Inferno. I'm just confused how this could have happened. I mean, Hazel affixed her Alan Wee surfboard protection totem into the beach. Did she not? Oh, it's not Sam. It's some other crazy meth head who's so high he actually thinks that he's God. Gotta say, I don't think that there's a way out of here. The tribe dudes have Tommy guns. We catch some flashbacks of back during the bonfire when they first hit the island. Sarah and Sam were talking on the radio. Apparently, Sam lost his friends to demons on the island. He ran while they were attacked and killed. Wait, what? So this dude actually witnessed his friends being murdered by the clan, and only decided to tell them after he left them on the island. And after hearing him crying about his friends being killed, Sarah turned the radio off, dismissed all of the dangers that he spoke about, and didn't immediately call this trip off. It's not like you're chasing a lead of where your friend went missing. It's a photo shoot for a magazine. Who gives a Go back to Cali. The food's better, the accommodations are nicer, and the people won't try to cut your heart out to appease the sun gods. However, if they were able to cap some selfies with these folks out by the beach, it would make for one hell of a magazine cover. Seriously, I'm convinced uncontacted tribes like this come up with all sorts of crazy spiritual cultural stuff because they're just bored out of their minds. Too bad Sarah nor Jennifer had stuffed their smartphones in their swimsuit tops and had a Starlink connection, giving their male guards one hit of the hub homepage, and these Neanderthals will be beating each other's heads in for control over the magic box, giving them an opportunity to escape. Too bad. Now the fair women are stripping, bathing, dressing, and tying them up for their consummation. Jennifer's first in line. When he leans in, she breaks her super sturdy arm restraint, grabs his bone necklace, and stabs it into his ear. Who tied their hands up because they did a Poor jaw. I know duct tape's in short supply, but come on. And Jenny, you went for the ear? The ear. At least tell me you're gonna finish this dude off so he doesn't immediately get back up and stab you to death. Nope. After untying herself, she rushes over to Sarah to stare longingly into her eyes with her back to the giant angry man. What follows is an entirely believable struggle as the 260-pound bear of a man wrestles to subdue Sarah's 100-pound skinny. Lucky for her, the knuckle dragger's not too bright and softly strangles her, while the knife that he stabbed Jennifer with lies within her arm's reach. Pro tip: if you're gonna finish somebody off with a choke, kick away any nearby weapons first, or better yet, pick them off. Meanwhile, none of the tribe's folk standing in line, literally just outside the fabric tent, heard anything that they would deem suspicious. Look at them. They're all standing around looking at their sundials like, come on, man, your turn's over. It's actually hilarious. Probably all those little white tablets everybody's sucking on. I'm not sure why they went one at a time. There's 2 women. I'm just saying. Split them up. Put them in separate tents. Have some of the tribe women stand inside the tent to calm them down with a wet rag or something. My point is, this was preventable. Sarah cuts a hole in the back of the tent and sneaks out. The tribe finally wakes up and starts pursuing her. She makes it pretty far, until the boy with throwing knives grazes her leg. When he rushes in for the kill shot, Sarah grabs an inconspicuous piece of vine, which releases the spike log trap. How on earth did Sarah know that that trap was even there, let alone recognize what it was and do the mental calculus to figure out he was standing in the exact narrow angle and distance where it would work? How lucky was Sarah that she just happened to be grazed by the knife, falling directly in front of the spot where the log was suspended? And how lucky she was that the kid didn't just throw another knife into her gut from a safe distance. How did this idiot not know where his own clan's traps were set? My God! She tries to lose them by obscuring her footprints in the stream, which sounds clever until you realize there is no way that she put enough distance between herself and her pursuers for it to matter. They're maybe 30 feet behind her, watching her the whole time. For this to actually work, she would have needed to completely break a visual contact first. Also, kind of hilarious that Sarah makes a big jump off the waterfall to get away, as if it's some crazy boulder move that none of the hunters could comprehend. Whoa! This chick's crazy! As if none of the tribe's hunters would jump after her. They know this land. They live here. I'm sure they know if it's deep enough at the bottom. Hell, I bet they jump off this cliff for fun. Her next move needs to be making for that pickup location that Sam designated that he would be at in 48 hours, which should be today. I can tell you right now, I wouldn't dare enter any man-made structures. Those are the most obvious hiding spots imaginable, and I sure as hell would not waste any time poring over expository historical documents that were probably compiled by the tribe's leader, because who else would? Which means you're literally in his home. I don't need to know why they're lunatics. I already know that they are, and that's all I need to know that I need to get off the island. You can Google the later. Oh no, they found her. But it's okay. Brick found a hand grenade and is threatening to blow up all the paper. The leader explains who they are. Why? Because Sarah just has to know. It's a woe-is-me sob story about how they were nuked by the French, quarantined so word wouldn't get out. Where they nuked us? Where? Living proof of all their lies. So, they took us out of the equation. Not well enough. See, this is what happens when you don't tie up your loose ends. That is definitely the moral of the story here. Sarah tosses the nade at their feet and runs out the door. To save his glorious God-a-King, Captain America dives on top of it, absorbing the full explosion into his body. And what does she do with her newfound lead? She runs it straight out into the open beach and spins around looking for cover back at the tree line. This chick sucks at hide-and-go-seek. If it were me, I would stay behind the tree line, bury myself in dirt and leaves, and pick a spot where I could still keep an eye on the water to see if Sam brings the extraction boat. He has to know from the complete lack of radio contact that things went horribly wrong. And I'd imagine he'd be bringing some serious heat, because I don't think Sarah's paid him yet. Where's my money? I ain't getting you acting nice. I think they agreed on $5,000. And with all the leverage he's got, he could tell her, double that, or you're staying on the island. Sure, the tribe has AKs and Thompsons, but who knows what kind of condition they're in, or if they're even loaded. I could easily see these primitive morons wasting all the ammo shooting at a passing plane or something. Unsurprisingly, the nuke god finds her and has a minion put an arrow in her shoulder blade. Oh no, he's going to stab her. Thanks, Sam. Took you long enough. But yeah, if I was Sarah, bro definitely would not be getting the $5,000 out of me when we get back. Looks like we won't be having that discussion. Turns out the Homo sapiens actually do have a lot of ammo left. While running back to the inflatable raft he brought ashore, a dude wearing a filthy gas mask in broad daylight zings a round into Sam's from 100 yards with a Lee Enfield. I love the dubbed English. Ow. Ow, dies. Almost as climactic as John Bassilone's death. Quick, grab his FAMAS and run. You don't owe this guy anything more than a 2-second loot. Why are you pounding sand crying no next to the literal reason you and all your friends are dead? Screw this guy. Maybe if you yell no enough, the Alan Wee will activate and deploy a magical force field to protect the inflatable raft from those scoundrels' pokey sticks. No shot. She's actually gonna surf out of here while dudes with rifles are zipping 303 British at her from 20 yards away. Crazy! Now, if only a photographer snapped some pics of this, that would make for an insane magazine cover. I haven't bought a magazine in probably 20 years, but I divide that one. At least Sarah survived, so that she can live the rest of her days in agonizing survivor's guilt. Ah! Or not. Look at that big cheesy smile at the realization that she made it, when all her stupid friends like Jenny didn't. She's probably thinking about the insanely lucrative book deal that she's gonna get once her agent hears what happened. It's gonna be her face on the cover of the book like some kind of hero, titled some David Goggin like, "You can hurt my friends, but you can't hurt me." The last scene is a police boat full of soldiers in biosuits detaining her. Ultimately, had Sam actually divulged the deets on what happened to him and his friend on that island, instead of being needlessly cryptic, nobody would have died. For that reason, I think the nuclear human waste in Pacific Fear was beaten. More love the story, and the great words of President Harry S. Truman, anybody worth nuking is worth nuking twice.